It's really hysterical to see a bunch of skaters leave hate comments on a video I made making fun of a movie that they like. Street Dreams. I just made a video ripping this movie to shreds, just for fun, really, just because I felt like doing it. And I was just a little disappointed with it, so I turned that disappointment into just content, I guess, or a YouTube video more than anything. But it's so fucking funny to me to see, like, a lot of them just getting so upset and basically acting like little baby bitches over a video, when I thought that, like, throwing yourself downstairs on a skate, I thought skateboarding required, like, you know, guts and having some sort of strong willpower in that way, or having some bravery and that courageous, like, approach to it. You'd think that these people would be a little, you know, more mentally sound, or a little more more headstrong in that way, I guess. You know, shout out to the movie Grind, which I actually do like them. But no, you know, I just thought that was very funny that they got all upset over, and I thought I thought that people that do nothing but similar to what I do, just get stoned and drink beer all day and skate. You know, the same, not skate, but like I play music or whatever. Musicians and skaters kind of similar in that way, just drinking beer and smoking a lot of weed and just whatever, partying. You'd think that these people would, like, be able to take a joke, but they didn't. They got upset and they really came after me. And there's just like a ton of the video on this channel. It's gotten the most organic views. Is just riddled with a bunch of people hating that I was making fun of their movie. Oh no, I made fun of their movie that they like. Let me get back into the movie though, and let's get back to the topic at hand here, and let me just revisit this and be a little more fair to it and give an actual honest opinion of this. I still stand by what I said in the video for the most part when it comes to just the acting alone and the writing of it. The actual story and the acting are the two things that I only give a shit about in any movie that I watch ever. I only care about is the script there and are the performances there. Really, like, the direction could be very basic, or the cinematography can be, you can get away with mediocre direction and cinematography, or subpar. You know, the crew can be subpar if the performers and the writing are strong and on point. But yeah, the acting in this movie is pretty rough. Let me talk about all the things that I do like about it, and then I'll get back into some of the criticisms. One thing that I do think the movie has going for it is the skateboarding's there. It's like the only movie. What I really appreciate about what the comments did say is how much they liked that it just had skateboarding in it. And I guess that there's something really lovely about that. The fact that it had just skateboarding was what made them like it. And that is like such a predominant part of the movies, is that skateboarding, the skateboarding itself. What I did like about the movie is how that ate up a good bit of the runtime. I guess you could argue that this movie is basically the only skateboarding movie that not only has the actors skating themselves, it has a lot of the skateboarding in it, and it has that being a consistent theme. The fact that it's about the skate, that's what I did appreciate about the movie, is that it goes back to the skateboarding being what's important. Paul Rodriguez's character is as terrible as he kind of is. He's not even that bad. I'm just being mean when I say that. He's really, as someone who's just a pro skater, all these guys just being just normal dudes, pro skaters, besides Ryan Dunn. None of them really seemed and the kid from Seinfeld or whatever didn't seem like they had much. They didn't have any experience doing that. So with the lack of experience, honestly, it's not as bad as I'm making it seem in the video. It's just so cheesy, I guess. Like, a lot of the acting is very obvious and very, just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel honest, and it doesn't feel authentic in that way. The dialogue and the acting is just so meh. But the skateboarding is there, and that is 100%. Like, I honestly would be fine just seeing a supercut of all of that footage in a shorter film. I'd rather see that, I think, and I'd rather I just rather, again, like I said in the original video, or I think I said in one of the comments on it when I was just trying to deal with all of the fucking pitchforks and torches coming at me. I said at one point, like, you know, like I'd rather watch a skate video. I don't think skateboarding is so interesting in itself. I'd rather watch any skate video and just see the real people, all of it being approached from a documentary aspect more so than a fictional story. I don't think any fictional story. There have been movies that have been decent or considered, you know, they're critically acclaimed or received, you know, they have a popular fan base. Like, there are movies that coincidentally have skateboarding in it, but that they're not necessarily the focus of. Like, the movie that comes to mind is, like, Kids, for example, is a movie that's, like, pretty well known and at its time, maybe not nowadays, but at the time was, like, critically well received. And, or just made an impact at the time. And that despite, like, that movie, whatever you might think of that movie, it you know, definitely made its mark in film history in that way. And that movie just coincidentally has skateboarding in it. Like, that's not a skateboarding movie to me. You can't have one scene of skating in it and then call it a skateboarding movie. That movie's a fucked up, like, the most dark coming of age movie about a kid that unknowingly has AIDS deflowering virgins. It's totally there's nothing to do with skateboarding is all. So anyway, back to Street Dreams. The skateboarding is there. The one thing that is kind of realistic about it is the only thing that the plot has going for it is them being in a car, driving from place to place to find places to skate and to go to competitions and all. That stuff is 1,000% very accurate to what skateboarding culture is. It's just a bunch of dudes sharing places and not giving a fuck about... I assume, at least, this is what I assume as an outsider. I'm not a skater myself, and it's been years since I've even been on a board, and years since I've skated for real and took it serious. Like, even longer since I've skated and taken it seriously. But what I assume it to be is because they spend so much time out in the world skating, they all just, like, a place is just a place that they need to pass out. They pass out in a van on the go, or they'll pass out in someone's, like, little apartment and a bunch of dudes just sleeping on the floor. Passing out drunk, because if you're drunk enough, you could sleep anywhere, really. And I assume that's the lifestyle. I totally get it, too. I could totally... In another life, I 100% was a little more courageous and was into skating and into just drinking beer and smoking weed and partying and not giving a fuck at all about anything other than skating, because that part of that cultural aspect of it, or that lifestyle is something that I completely resonate with as a musician myself, or as someone, you know, that's like essentially the touring lifestyle if you do end up going on tour, which I haven't really, but it's at 32 that sounds way different than my body being able to handle that like 10 years ago, more so it's just different. Anyway, Street Dreams being about them going from place to place in the van. There are so many things that are true to again, what I assume is true to what skate culture is, and then there is a lot of it that's just feels like, I guess, I wish that they just stuck to that more. I wish it felt more like that realism of them being on the road and just it being about the skating and all of the forced family drama, him being with the girl, all of that is so forced. And it feels so thrown in there to be nothing more than, well, this makes this adds conflict or layers or different different dimensions to the story. Like, that's like just the oldest rule of story writing is, okay, like, good stories just have a lot of things going on, or you know, multifaceted plot lines and things developing at the same time, because it just makes for a more interesting story. So it feels like, again, very thrown in there just because they needed something else other than skateboard. But I would have much rather just seen that. I would have much rather the movie just started with him literally, like, breaking up with his girlfriend and having problems at home, and that's just in the dialogue. Like, we just know that. We don't even have to see it. We don't even have to fucking experience those scenes. If he literally, like, P-Rod literally just... It's like him... the movie opens up with him just having maybe a moment with his girlfriend and, you know, and then his father and stuff like that, and then immediately goes into them on the road, and then the movie is just them on the road going through all of that stuff until the competition. at the end, which again, a competition in a skateboarding movie is just so like forced and kind of thrown into every single one of them, which it doesn't have to. I know like competitions are like in real life, that again, that is a realistic thing though, where competitions are like the ultimate test of like where you can how far you can go in skateboarding as a career choice, and where you stand from a skill level, from a skill standpoint amongst your peers, and just the fun of that competition is just fun, and it's healthy, and it pushes people, and it's good. So of course, like that is an important thing. But again, I would have loved to just have seen all those scenes with them in the van, and the movie just being them in the van on the road. Essentially, okay, the movie Into the Wild with skateboarding. The way that the movie Into the Wild feels, and now it's just him just going, and it gets right into it. The whole movie just gets right into him. Like, it starts off with him just in Alaska and does all these time jumps, but it just starts with him being, and that is what the book is. It's just he was always moving, and always immediately finished high school, and I would have just loved to see that kind of approach to the plot, because that was the only interesting thing about it to me, was the like, I want to see that. As someone who isn't a part of it, that's what I want to see, is what's the struggle like. Like, imagine, okay, so let's imagine reframing what Street Dreams could have been. Let me just get into my ideal version of this movie, and shit, if they want to make a sequel to it or remake it and need some help with that, I'd gladly fucking help. But imagine the movie just being about the struggle of how hard it is to be on the road, getting from place to place, and how much of the sacrifice that it is from a comfort standpoint in having to be in a van with your friends. Not having to, but like wanting to do that enough to deal with the suck of it is really what I would love to see. And watching them go through all of the just the conflicts of that, just the conflicts of being in a van and going like straight up starving and going very hungry, them not showering, them having to choose maybe between eating and getting some beers and having a good time. Maybe they get a flat tire, so then they have to figure out a way to pay it. It feels like, Rob Dyrdek's character, they just alluded to him having, like, it was just established that, okay, he just had money, and that was like why they hung out with him. That did feel like a good choice on there, and that, like, I'm sure Rob Dyrdek was like, oh yeah, like, it would make sense if I played that. Like, I think he did take part in the script. I think he co-wrote it, Rob Dyrdek. So I could see Rob Dyrdek being like, yeah, like, my guy has money, and we don't have to know. And they used him as a crutch for like how they were taking care of all that stuff, and he just has like a nice car and has like all that shit, or has like the transportation. I mean, is what they allude to. So I would have loved it if that didn't exist, and they were all just like straight up like fresh out of high school, or people that were just, people 19, 20 years old, 21 or whatever the hell, that like still don't have that much money. Like, most people at that age don't have that kind of money unless their family is rich, which again is kind of anti like skate culture. It feels like even guys that are from wealth that are into skateboarding, I doubt that that's like they're not necessarily a part of that world, I assume. They're not part of like the wealthy and the elitist. They just happen to be from that, and like, anyway, getting off topic here. So yeah, imagine seeing a movie where they deal with all that bullshit and deal with all that, and like all the struggle of how much that would just suck being on the road for that long, and then all of it leads up to that competition. The competition is that important. It's like that. This is what they've sacrificed all of that for, all those nights of going hungry and all that bullshit that they went through, and then it leading to him doing the competition, and then it ending the same way where he doesn't win, but he still wins in the end from a jump starting his career standpoint. That's the ideal Street Dreams movie to me, because again, I mean, the movie itself is literally called Street Dreams. Imagine them being on the road the whole time, or that just being just predominant, again, more of a focus. I think if just all the stuff with his dad was cut out, all the stuff with school, all that was so forced. And doesn't matter. Why couldn't he have just been a high school dropout? Why couldn't they just have made it like, all right, like, you can do so much in dialogue. You can establish so many things. What I've learned watching movies a lot more recently and watching stories so much because I'm a story nerd in general, and I've just been really embracing a lot of lovely pieces of work, lovely movies and TV shows. And what I've learned is you can do so much through the dialogue and just people explaining instead of showing. Seinfeld has so many freaking hysterical moments that all just take place in Jerry's apartment where a character is just talking about it. You know, they don't have to show it. You watching the character monologue about it and almost being like with the other characters, listening to someone just tell the story of it, and that how much that actually adds to what the characters are saying. If you really funnel all of the establishing that you want to do through the characters' dialogue, as far as story beats and certain things that you want to establish in this world with these characters, you could do so much of that just highly concentrated in the dialogue, and you can really get a lot done. And like I said, it would have been so much more it would have been a lot better to see the see the movie have that kind of approach. Imagine if it was more like the realism that mid-90s was. And I think people in the comments wanted me were talking about reviewing that movie. I might or might not do it. If you watch this and you want me to review mid-90s, I might. I watched it once, and I don't know if I can watch it again, so I just would go off of the memory that I have of it if I was to review it. But that's how mid it was to me. Not gonna lie, it was pretty fucking. That was a perfect title for that movie. But anyway, if the movie had more of that realism that mid-90s had, and even that movie again, not to derail again, but even that movie forced some dramatic beats that it didn't have to. I just want to see the fucking skateboarding. All I want to see in skateboarding movies is the skateboarding. If I were to make a skateboarding movie, I would just do what I'm saying. It would just be nothing but like showing the art of it and the love of that, as well as the like what the lifestyle actually is, and just not shying away from that. You know, I love that Lords of Dogtown did that. I guess is how where that movie is one of the few skateboarding flicks that succeeded in just kind of trying to capture that, you know. So yeah, Street Dreams. To wrap all my thoughts up about this movie, my other review is 100% unfair in a lot of ways, and I'm just kind of, like I keep saying in the comments of it, taking the piss out on it, and I was just having a laugh and just kind of wanting to tear it apart because I was so disappointed because I thought it was going to be significantly better. I thought it was going to be on... I don't know why I thought when you see the cast, how good can it be, right? But I you know, I don't know. I don't know what I expected, but it was one of those expectations versus reality of what it was. We're just starkly different. That's all. I would if someone threw that movie on and wanted to watch it, I wouldn't be upset and I wouldn't get annoyed having like I have no problem rewatching it and kind of, you know, re-experiencing it, I guess. But it's just very thrown together. The one thing that I'm not crazy about with this movie is it just feels very thrown together and feels like very amateurish. It's very amateur, and that maybe that's the appeal of it in a lot of ways too. If you like it for that reason, if you like this movie, then fuck what I'm saying. Who cares about what some guy on the internet says about anything at all? All of my opinions are just mine, and they mean nothing to you or other people. They're just for me. So this movie, yeah, really not as bad as I was making it out to be, or just for how much I was shitting on it really harshly. I definitely stand by a lot of the points that I made in it as far as how like rough it can be in a lot of the moments, but a lot of the moments throughout just the movie, again, with all this forced drama is the only thing I'm not a fan with it. But overall, it's just the IMDb rating that it has is very accurate. It's got like a 6 something. That's exactly where I think it's at for me. It's like no more than a 6.5. That movie is like a solid D, you know. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because I was definitely unfair with it, and it was actually really lovely. Not gonna lie, I was very amazed and I was very happy to see so many people defending a movie that I didn't really care for, because it reminded me that everyone enjoys things in their own way, and everyone takes away something from it differently, in different ways. If this movie means something to you and it's nostalgic and you have a lot of memories attached to it, then that's awesome. I guess I wish I had memories attached to it as well, but it was after I was already done with skateboarding and got more into serious like filmmaking and acting and music and just all sorts of other shit. So it just kind of happened littlest bit too late for me. But yeah, if you enjoy this movie, I totally get why you do, because it's got a vibe. One thing you can't take away from this movie, it does have like a hang out with your buddies, throw it on in the background, and kind of half pay attention to it vibe. That's the lovely thing about this movie, is it 100% is like it's a fun. I might do this with some friends with this movie soon too, and then maybe we'll all talk about the movie on this channel just to really dig in deeper to like this movie in particular. You know, like I could talk about skateboarding movies in general. I could talk about them a lot, because I do like them. But I would love to throw this movie on with some friends and have some beers and just kind of have a laugh at how subpar it is. You know, that's where this movie is perfect. And I wish I had a moment like that with my friends back in the day, because I think we would have enjoyed watching this movie just late at night. It's like you throw it on at 1 a.m. and everyone kind of like passes out while watching it, or just, you know, it's just kind of on, creating a vibe. And that's the one thing I do appreciate about that, is it's got does have some solid vibes to it. So again, the positives, solid vibes. You know, I love that the skateboarding is they put a big spotlight on the skateboarding. The movie does, in its own weird way, it does have a lot of heart to it. It does feel like it's trying, at least. And I guess that's so much better than what I see nowadays with AI, just making everyone lazy as fuck, not even wanting to actually create something and thinking that's okay and that's good enough. At least these people tried, and at least they went out of their way to make a movie, and they put that effort in. You could feel the effort in that, and I genuinely will tip my hat to that. They tried and they put a lot of themselves into it. That's clearly there. But when it comes to the actual story, the movie itself, and the acting and the writing, it leaves so much to be desired. It's just weird. Feeling like Ryan Sheckler wants to see his sister get banged by P-Rod is fucking weird. Just dumb moments like that, again, that are pretty forced, that are just like we're the younger siblings that are all like kooky and wacky and goofy and shit. Like, it's fucking stupid is all. So anyway, yeah, Street Dreams, 6.5 out of 10. Not the best movie in the world, but not the worst. Not the worst. I'd put this, Grind, and I don't know which other movies, but like those movies were okay. They're like good, not great. You know, they're okay. Street Dreams is a lot more okay than bad. And I know I was saying it's the worst. I know my video literally says the worst skateboarding movie ever. It's not. That's all just to get your attention, and it worked because it's the only video on here that has like a few thousand, 4,000 views or a few thousand views or whatever it is, and you fell for the bait. And of course, if I'm gonna make that title the worst skateboarding movie ever, I gotta make my point. I gotta dig into why I felt that way, and I just had a fun time ripping apart that movie. And it's the only movie that it's the only video on here. What will kind of secure its legacy on this channel, if you will. It will be the only movie where I actually only movie review I ever make where I actually show clips from the movie and I actually show bits from it, because that video is also why I will never show anybody else's footage on this channel, or why this channel has an extremely minimalistic approach, is because I don't ever want to have to deal with the headache of copyright tug of war, the copyright tug of war that I was having with YouTube to try to keep it public and monetized and all that stuff. That movie or that video and using all those movie clips made me never want to do that again. So I hope you enjoy it, because that's the only time I'm ever going to do a video in that style or do it with that kind of editing. I think it's kind of a lazy approach to have a video that shows clips from them. Not lazy. I think as much as we're used to it, as much as that's kind of a standard on YouTube, showing clips from something that you're talking about as you're talking about it. But I think if you can get people to pay attention without having to show anything other than what you're showing, like just me talking or just the thing itself, that's what YouTube is supposed to be, and that's like kind of why I have this like kind of purist approach with these things now. Anyway, yeah, Street Dreams, a lot more okay than bad, but not good by any means. Anybody saying that this movie is a classic or that it's good is just lying, and they clearly don't watch. If you're saying that in the comments, you clearly don't watch enough movies, or you don't have the love of movies and cinema that a lot of us do, and you're just wrong in saying that it's good. You're not correct, because it is not good. It's not anywhere near the level of cinematic storytelling that countless other movies have going for it. So yeah, but Street Dreams, when it comes to skateboarding movies, I think that this shit is got something going for it. Whether you like it or not is completely, I guess, a preference thing or whatever. But I would watch it again. I'd rather watch. Let me put it this way: I'd rather watch Street Dreams again a few times. I'd rather watch that movie a handful of times than watch a lot of other movies that I've seen recently or in my life in general. I appreciate that about it though. That's where, at the very least, if I was forced to watch it multiple times, it's not the worst movie to watch. So yeah, all right. I hope this makes up for all of the hate that I was giving it before, and it was just, again, it was just a joke. Grow some fucking... You guys have such balls as skaters, throwing yourselves on rails and ramps and throwing yourselves down stair sets. I would think that you would have a better spine than that. I figured you guys would have spines. So stop being little bitches and watch more movies. Because if you think Street Dreams is really good, then you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyway, again, that was just a joke just now too. I wasn't actually trying to like hurt you or put you down. I don't give a fuck what movies you kind of like, what movies you like, or what your life as a skater is like. I'm just trying to make a point, and I think I've made it because there's almost a half hour of me talking about this. So all right, I'm done talking about Street Dreams for a little while now.